Sterling Heights Public Library. My name is Brent, and today we're going to be making stuffed peppers. We're going to put a little bit of a twist on them. So let's talk briefly about the filling that we're going to be doing here. If you're used to stuffed peppers being green peppers stuffed with ground beef and rice, that's not what we're making. First of all, we're going to be using red peppers. The only real difference is this is basically a green pepper that's allowed to get ripe. You can use orange, you can use yellow. We're using red today. I've got a poblano. This is a green chili pepper. It's pretty mild, but it is still a chili. It's got a little bit of heat to it. I got a little bit of chopped onion here. I've got some masa. Now, if you're not familiar with masa, this is corn flour. Basically, this is what they use to make corn tortillas. So if you can't find this stuff, you can chop up a couple of corn tortillas and it'll be pretty similar. We've got some chorizo. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and split this poblano, get the stem out of it. Take the seeds out. We're just going to chop that up. Doesn't matter if there's still a couple of seeds, but we don't want most of them. So, doesn't need to be a super fine chop on these. We just want to get them knocked down so that they go into our stuffing nice. So, there's that. Don't have a specific measurement on that, it's just one relatively small poblano. Okay, so got a little bit of a bowl here. We're going to take a cup of this dry masa. We're going to add about half a teaspoon of baking powder and just a quarter teaspoon of salt. And we'll get around to mixing them together here in a few minutes. What we're doing is we're taking kind of the idea of a tamale and kind of crossing it with a stuffed pepper. So the first thing we're going to do, we got the skillet here over about medium heat. I'm going to add about a tablespoon of olive oil. Doesn't have to be olive oil, it can be pretty much any oil you want to work with. This is bulk chorizo, which is a spicy Mexican sausage. If you don't have bulk, you can use the stuff with the links. You just want to open up the links and scrape it out. I'm just going to break this up so that we got some crumbles here. So our sausage has been going for a couple minutes here. We're going to take our poblanos and our onions and throw them right in there. And stir them in. And once those start to soften a little bit, then we'll add our chicken stock. We've got about 3/4 of a cup of chicken stock. And then when we've got all that together, then we'll add the masa. Typically when you're making tamales, you would use a certain amount of lard. We're just going to go ahead and use the fat that's from the pork sausage here and that little bit of oil I put in there just to help brown it. So our peppers and onions are starting to soften. We're going to go ahead and add the chicken stock right in. You could use water, but got chicken stock on hand. It gives you a little bit more flavor. Kind of just warm that through. Get that up to a simmer quick. So our mixture's coming up to a simmer here, and I've got the masa and a little bit of salt and baking powder that I stirred in with a fork. And we're just going to stir that together here. Baking powder is just going to give it a little bit of leavening. Not going to make a big difference, but a little bit. Stir this together until you get a nice soft dough mix. we're going to need a little bit more chicken stock, it looks like. So add about another quarter cup. Stir that in. See how it looks. Next step, we're going to prep the bell peppers. So we're going to split those lengthwise, take out the core, the seeds, and the ribs, and set those in a 9x13 baking dish. And I've got 3 of these here today. These are fairly good sized peppers. You can use smaller ones, that would be fine. Okay, so we got 6 nice peppers here. Got a little tomato sauce I'm going to top them with. If you wanted to try a little bit of an alternative, nothing says you couldn't use a little enchilada sauce. If you got a homemade enchilada sauce you like, this would work great for it, but there's nothing wrong with using the stuff out of the can. So go ahead and pack that mix right into these half peppers. Okay. So we're going to take these and we're going to top them with a little plain tomato sauce. This happens to be homemade. There's nothing that says you couldn't use canned stuff. I got about 2 cups here, and that is just about right for 6 peppers. I've got my oven preheated to 375 right now. I'm going to take oil, give it a little bit of a spray so they don't stick. Cover this tightly. Pop it in the oven, 375 for about 45 minutes, and we'll check them from there. What we want to do is we want all the steam to stay in here, and for these to steam in this pan. So these have been in the oven for about 45 minutes now. We're going to take the foil off. Watch yourself when you do that, because there's a fair amount of steam coming out of these. We didn't get too much stuff sticking here. So I've got 6 peppers, I've got 6 slices of cheese. Now this is mozzarella. You could use cheddar, you could use Monterey Jack, you could use pretty much anything you want. And then we're going to take this back into the oven for about another 15-20 minutes. So while that stuff is in the oven, the cheese is melting and browning, I've got about 1/2 of an avocado here. So we're going to mash that up a little bit. Throw in about a 1/2 cup of, I'm using Greek yogurt. You can use sour cream. This works pretty well though. And then we're going to take the juice of about 1/2 a lime, put that in there to kind of thin things out. We're going to mix all that together. When those are ready to go, we're going to use that to top them along with some chopped cilantro. So let's go ahead and get that all mixed up. All right. So when those come out, we'll be able to serve them and show you what they look like. So they're out of the oven, and we got the cheese is melted and a little bubbly and a little brown. Go ahead and slide one of those out of there. A little of that sauce on it. Peppers are nice and tender. Go ahead and take a little of that avocado crema. Well, slid off of there a little bit, but top it with a little cilantro, and there you go. Stuffed peppers. Give it a shot.